What's going on? It's another episode of the Squad Show. Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. Flag football, huh? Now that's a sport my athletic testing can get behind.
Squad Show, what am I doing? Hey, this is Arif Hassan from Wide Left. Help me, I'm trapped.
Tyler Fornes of ADZ Sports. Finally, I am no longer the squid. Feels good.
Skull! It's the Viking squad. Everything Minnesota Vikings every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the land of 10,000 lakes. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. It's time to gear up. The Viking Squad Show starts now.
Loving this three-man rotation. It's like we're on the PFF mock draft sim. We turn random, that random bar, all the way up. I'm loving this. What's going on? Another episode of the Squad Show right here on the Locked On Sports Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Lots to get into today. We're talking about a potential DeAndre Hopkins, Kyler Murray reunion, plus the dream and the nightmare scenarios for the Vikings on draft weekend. Before we get into all that, quick reminder, today's episode is brought to us by FanDuel. Right now during the Madness tournament, FanDuel is offering you $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days. Just head to FanDuel.com today to get started. Also, a quick reminder, after this show, got to go check out our guy Luke Braun over on Locked On Vikings for all your daily content each and every day as well. All right, I just want to touch on this one real quick, get your 2 cents. The Adam Thielen, CJ Ham retirement press conference. Very cool day last Thursday, seeing both them kind of get their well-deserved flowers, so to speak. My favorite part, by the way, without a doubt, the 23-minute video of all the past players, all the past coaches in there kind of all singing their praises. It just felt like this kind of hodgepodge of guys that I don't think we think about much anymore, but we're like staples on that roster. Riley Reif, Latavius Murray, Kirk Cousins, who had to look that one up. Kevin Stefanski, yeah, Kendricks, Barr, list goes on and on. My favorite one, though, without a doubt, Xavier Rhodes sitting in his car, goes on for like 12 minutes. I'm sure it was 3 minutes, felt like 12, but the stories, the memories he had of those two, kind of him and Thielen, the training camp battles back in 2013, rookie on rookie. It was actually pretty cool. It was kind of cool to relive those memories and those times kind of through his eyes and I guess his lens, so to speak. So anyways, go check that out if you haven't already. Let's start here. Give me either what you enjoyed most about that whole presentation or maybe a favorite memory that you'll always remember, I guess, about these guys on or off the field. Arif, Adam Thielen, CJ Ham, just top of your head, what comes up?
Oh, man. Obviously, a personal success of mine, I think, is the first thing that'll come up. So how it affected me personally. Way back, I've told the story maybe a couple of times on this podcast, but Adam Thielen's retiring, I get to say it again. Way back in 2014, so this is his second year with the Vikings. He was like a 2013 tryout that had made the 90-man roster, ended up on the practice squad. 2014, his first year, potentially able to make the roster. He was competing with this 6'5" receiver from Florida State. One of the guys where there's like a bunch of guys with the same name, like a Rod Smith type name. Back in 2015. So, yeah, Luke, I know you're looking it up right now.
That's I have fantastic. To, because I know exactly who you're talking about. I remember that big body, and everybody on paper was like, there's no way the Mankato State. Fun story, but come on now. And I don't remember. He must have been a UDFA, that Florida State.
He was like a UDFA. He was 6'5" with like 200 yards. And it's like, well, okay, Florida State couldn't get you to 1,000 yards where you're taller than literally everybody. Certainly, you can't seem to get it done.
Was it Rodney Smith? Was it?
Yeah, I think it was Rodney Smith.
Rodney Smith.
Rodney Smith, wasn't he? No, that was Rodney Adams. That was the.
Remember, there's a bunch of guys named like Rodney Smith. Rodney Adams was the draft pick with the YouTube channel. But yeah, I remember I was talking about him in camp. This is one of the first camps that I'd ever covered as a Vikings reporter. And I was like, hey, this Adam Thielen guy, I was dogging him all last camp. He was dropping all these passes, right? He was getting a little bit open, but he just wasn't getting much done. He's really improved. He's catching everything that's thrown his way. He's finding ways to connect with the quarterbacks. I feel like you're getting something done. Maybe Teddy will kind of help him out. I don't know, right? Who's the Iowa quarterback? Like Vandenberg or something like that. Yeah, and I remember arguing with people online, which I know is so unusual for me to do. I remember arguing with people online, and I was like, no, Adam Thielen is out of these two guys, out of Rodgers Smith and Adam Thielen's the one to make the roster. And a ton of people were mad at me. They're like, this guy, Rodgers Smith, has so much more natural talent. You just have to go with that guy. What has Adam Thielen ever shown? Right. And then against the Arizona Cardinals, Teddy Bridgewater, preseason game, Teddy Bridgewater leads a game-winning drive. This is the preseason. A game-winning drive, like a fourth quarter, end of game-winning drive, and he throws a touchdown to Rodney Smith. It's like the final preseason game that we're going to see any meaningful play in.
The exclamation point.
And everyone is like, Arif, you're so wrong. Rodney Smith got the game-winning touchdown. It's preseason. The game-winning touchdown against the Cardinals here. And he's got chemistry. #chemistry with Teddy Bridgewater. You're so wrong about this. Like cut down day. Rodney Smith didn't even make the practice squad. Adam Thielen made the roster.
Wild,
I felt so good. So thank you, Adam Thielen, for that memory that I have of me being right, that I've held on to for over a decade. I appreciate everything you've done, again, for me personally, and in my quest to become a Vikings personality.
Hey, winners win, baby. Winners win. Yeah. Nate Stanley. I think there was 2 Iowa quarterbacks, though.
There's been a bunch. I thought Nate Stanley was later. I thought 2014.
Nate Stanley was 2020.
Yeah, he was 2020. Yeah, maybe there's another one.
My brain's going to Ricky Stanzi, but I don't know.
It was not Ricky Stanzi.
Also, I remember,
or something like that.
They had just used those 3 first-round picks, Sharif Floyd, Xavier Rhodes, Cordero Patterson. But there was this little bit of like Xavier Rhodes was from Florida State. He went up against Rodney Smith every day in practice. Those two know each other. Obviously, Rhodes was speaking very highly of him as well. So I remember that Florida State connection, even though they came out 1 year separate from one another. I remember that Florida State connection being kind of a little bit of a talking point in training camp.
Well, yeah, I think the year prior or that year, one of the things was it was a couple years prior. Leslie Frazier would and Rick Spielman would draft players from the same school. So there was one draft
Greg Childs, Jarius Wright.
Yeah, there was one draft class where you had at least 2 players from one school, and so so you could tell because if they drafted a guy from like LSU, or they weren't drafting LSU guys at the time for whatever reason, but if they, like hypothetically, they drafted a guy from LSU in like the 3rd round, you knew that in the 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th round there was another LSU guy. There's just not that many guys draft eligible from some of these schools, and so
it was like the same grouping though. It was like same positional group. It was like J-Ron Kirsten, Mac Alexander from Clemson,
Yeah.
Brian Cole, and
they
Cam
can't all be
Chancellor.
bad. They can't all be bad. We got to hit on one of these guys. 4-0 favorite memory, whether it's on or off the field, CJ Ham, Adam Thielen, or something that kind of stuck out as far as that retirement presentation.
Listen, I'm just really proud of Arif for holding on to being right for nearly 13 years. That's a tremendous bit.
It's important.
It's very important. I think the 2 things that'll stick out to me are you can't talk about Adam Thielen without talking about the backstory. And I know 2017, 2018, every national outlet was just pounding you with the story. Anytime the Vikings were on TV, they were telling you that Thielen was on a $500 scholarship. I don't know if anybody knew this still, but they would just tell you time and time and time again. Every outlet was doing these big stories on him. And it's something that we can all kind of look toward as, hey, you can take yourself from basically nothing and go somewhere, even if it's not necessarily as a pro athlete. If you can work your way up. I worked my way up from being in restaurants to now my career is football. Like, you can do those kind of things, and it's a really cool example for everybody else. But I think my favorite memory of either of these guys was against the Ravens in 2021 when CJ Ham caught like a 40-yard wheel route.
Wheel route.
That was crazy.
That was one of my favorite
What a
moments.
game, too, by the way.
Oh, all the games that the Vikings have against the Ravens, I know there's all the talk about somebody gets fired or the Vikings make the NFC Championship game, but they're all good. Every game against the Ravens
going back to 2009 with Favre, was it Justin Tucker at the end? Back and forth game.
Yeah, well, was it 2014 or was it 2013? The Cordero Patterson game in the snow.
In the snow.
There was
there were
like what
7
35 points in like.
I feel like people still don't. I mean, every Viking fan knows that game, but nationally, I feel like people still don't.
It's one of the greatest games of football I've ever seen.
It's because Chris Myers was on the call. Nobody saw it.
Yeah, yeah. But they had like 14 total points heading into the fourth quarter, and then they scored like 30 points between them. It was
like
fourth
36 or 32.
Yeah, it was amazing. Insane. Wonderful game. So a bunch of these Ravens games were amazing. Yeah, I think all of them ended with like fourth quarter comebacks of some sort, like every single one going all the way back to 09.
Yeah. It's also, I was just going to say, it's also crazy too, thinking back and realizing how many other big games the Vikings have been a part of with both these two. The 33-0 comeback, the Bills game obviously was iconic, and obviously you got the Minneapolis Miracle as well. 4-0, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say the only game I remember being bad was the 2017 game. I think it was just like 23-16 or 29-19, something like that. I just don't remember it fondly because I was really hungover after Halloween party. But
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, the J.J. McCarthy Ravens game last year.
I completely blacked that out of my brain. I don't remember that at all.
Did they play the Ravens?
It doesn't exist.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Pretty cool though. Yeah, both those guys, man. When you have that kind of longevity, both those guys saw it all. Thielen's 2 catches versus the Saints, 2 separate games. The one on Lattimore during the Minneapolis Miracle, where Lattimore is literally hugging him midair. And he came down with that kind of YOLO jump ball from Keenan on the sideline when they absolutely needed a first down, by the way. Would have got it, regardless with the penalty. But and then the New Orleans game in New Orleans, the over-the-shoulder catch from Kirk and OT, both iconic for sure. Also, too, because I was there, Cam Newton and the Panthers in town, the old TCF Stadium.
What a game.
Sub-zero temps, dude. And when he scored that first special teams touchdown with that block punt.
Yeah, well, I was running to make that up because that was like his first like NFL play was like a blocked punt. Yeah. He scores a touchdown, and then his next NFL play a year later is like a 41-yard fake punt rush.
Yeah,
I think it was incredible.
My favorite part about that blocked punt for a touchdown is he spiked it like he had no idea what he was doing to celebrate a touchdown.
He's just like, never planned on being in this end zone. What is this? An end zone? Never planned on being there. Obviously, go ahead.
Well, I was just about to say that Panthers game. I'm gonna remember that actually as the Marcus Sherrills game because they they were like down so many cornerbacks. They go to Marcus Sherrills
on Kelvin Benjamin.
On Kelvin Benjamin.
Let's
go. Talk about 6'5" receivers, right? This is a 6'5" receiver that actually got 1,000 yards at one
from Florida
point.
State, by the way.
In Florida State, yeah, right. They know how to use 6'5" receivers. Just ask them. But yeah, and he had a pass deflection in the end zone against Kelvin Benjamin.
No, and then I remember Benjamin and Newton were getting chippy. Like they were getting chippy at each other, on the sideline. Like, dude, Marcus Sherrill, this is like CB6. Come on, what are we doing?
That's the punt returner.
Right.
Like, what are you doing?
Obviously, Thielen didn't really live up to the billing last year when the Vikings traded for him. And we'll talk about wide receiver 3 here in a minute. But CJ Ham was and had been a staple in this offense for years and years. We know that. Arif, do you have a hunch, I guess, what the plan is now in this backfield? Do you think they try to go find a new fullback to replace him with, which obviously easier said than done? Or do you think KOC kind of scraps the whole thing and goes, more 11, more 12 personnel? Because I feel like we really haven't talked about this part of the offense much, but I think it's going to be pretty prudent to what type of offense we might see in 2026.
I feel like KOC kept on working to find ways to put Ham into the offense, right? He kept on looking for
manufacture
ways. It wasn't natural to him. So my guess is that we're not going to see a fullback in the offense. I think, like you mentioned, we're probably going to see more 12, more 13 personnel. It wouldn't shock me if they like moved a tight end around like a post-snap or pre-snap motion. Post-snap motion, that's just a play. A pre-snap motion to get a guy into the backfield to be a lead blocker or something like that. But I don't think that they'll have a dedicated fullback position. I would love to be wrong. It's fun to see those guys, but I'm not. I don't think that that's likely.
Yeah, I'm with you. The fullback is, for lack of a better term, somewhat of a dead position. Like, if you're going to be a fullback in this league, you need to be more of a utility guy. You need to be more of a Kyle Juszczyk, who's going to be utilized more as like a tight end. Like, I think if the Vikings could find their own Rhett Ellison, I think that's going to be your best use of a fullback moving forward.
Without the Riki baggage. Without Riki Ellison screwing things up.
Right.
Absolutely. I think there's a couple of guys in this draft who are really interesting in that.
Of course.
That kind of role too. So especially late on day 3. I got my eye on a couple guys.
Sam Roush, Stanford by chance? Can I just fling
Riley Nowakowski, Indiana.
Ooh, okay.
Nowakowski, what a fullback name that is.
Absolutely loved going deep in the well with these 2013, 14, 15 memories, training camp memories. Pretty good. Don't go anywhere. Coming up next, DeAndre Hopkins to the Vikings rumor alert. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by FanDuel. The tournament, it's here, and it's one of the best times of the year. Brackets, buzzer beaters, upsets. It's nonstop action from tip-off to the final countdown. And right now, FanDuel has given every new customer a way to stay in all the action all tournament long. And here's the best part. You're getting $300 in bonus bets back every day for 10 days. That means 10 chances to stay involved throughout the entire tournament. And you can mix it up however you want. Game picks, futures, even same game parlay for bigger potential payouts. It's so perfect for the tournament because every day there's something new, different matchups, new storylines, and more ways to get involved as the bracket unfolds. Go visit FanDuel.com today to get signed up. That's FanDuel.com to get in on all the action. All right, we got a little DeAndre Hopkins rumor alert. So TMZ Sports, which
you gotta love
how that's a thing, but
Bastion
okay,
of journalism,
sure.
yeah, for sure.
What do you want to be, son, when you grow up? Well,
Wide Left's newest employee, TMZ Sports.
Yeah. They did the old walk and talk with Hopkins at the airport, and paraphrasing here a little bit, but first he praised Kyler with a lot of love, said he's going to fit in great here with KOC and Justin Jefferson and all that. Then he opened the door for a possible fit, in this Vikings offense, saying, if Kyler needs me, he knows I'm there. If the Vikings need me, they know I'm here. So obviously the dude, Hopkins, he was a baller in his prime, right? Big name pedigree. By the way, him breaking D'Angelo Hall's ankles on Hard Knocks, for me, still like top 2 Hard Knock moment. And I don't even know what number 1 is, but Hall of Fame sequence of events there. Probably could argue he was top 3 wideout for a season or 2 at his peak. At this stage, though, right? 33, going to be 34 this summer. I think his birthday's in June. I guess first off, you got to imagine that this would be a very affordable deal, which is kind of the first check mark you got to hit. If you're the Vikings and Rob Brzezinski, just given the salary cap status and what they're trying to do to open the books back up in 2026 and beyond. As far as the fit goes, though, I mean, I guess the question for me is, was he just not used much in Baltimore? Was it a scheme fit issue there, or was there just not much gas left in those legs? I don't know, but either way, maybe a better or bigger conversation here. Who's the Vikings wide receiver 3 on opening day? Because I got a hard time sitting here thinking they're cool rolling with Ty Felton, at the 3, and that's it. I just pulled this depth chart up. Ty Felton at the 3, Miles Price, Jayshon Jones, and Dante Fleming. I mean, that cupboard is totally bare right now, once you get past your big 2. And it's not like, again, we just talked about this. It's not like they're not going to run a lot of 3 wideout sets either, especially if they don't replace CJ Ham. So, I think whether it's a veteran like Hopkins or another draft pick, which feels like a little bit of a gamble to me right now, but I think it's fair to have some concerns for that wide receiver room as it stands now. 4-0, what's your thoughts on, Kyler Hopkins kind of reunion and I guess just the overall state, the overall health of this receiver room and maybe the vision here moving forward?
It's going to be really interesting how they decide to approach it over the next few weeks and how they want to try and add to that wide receiver room, because my understanding is they like Ty Felton a lot more than we do. And that's fine, but do you really want to go into the season with Ty Felton guaranteed wide receiver 3? My guess is they don't want to do that, and adding some kind of talent at the position I think is going to be a priority. Now, is it going to be a guy like Hopkins? He was only making $5 million last year with the Ravens. He only played 334 snaps as kind of their wide receiver 3. And they used a lot of 12 personnel because they had Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, and they also had Charlie Kolar, who they used a lot as like a blocker, plus Patrick Ricard as a 300-pound fullback. The way the Ravens kind of schematically operated on offense didn't always utilize a wide receiver 3. But when you look at some of the stuff that he's historically been really good at, the contested catch stuff has really kept up over the last few years. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to design an offense for Kyler Murray, which I highly recommend everybody go read the article from Ted Wynn and Alec Lewis talking about some of the concepts that translate from what he did with the Cardinals and Drew Petzing over to Kevin O'Connell's system. And if you want to bring in a guy like that to be more of an X receiver on the outside, go get those jump balls. Because Addison Jefferson can get jump balls, but that's not what you want to ask them to do. You don't want to ask them to be in those situations. You want to scheme them up with stuff over the middle, out breaking and breaking routes, and get them opportunities to create that separation with their twitchy movement skills. So if you want to get an X, I think Hopkins could provide that in a wide receiver 3 role. I don't necessarily know if you want to count on him for that, because he is getting up there in age. He's going to be entering his age 34 season. And we've already seen some of the athletic skills kind of decline over the last few years, which he was never a hyper athlete to begin with. So when that happens, it becomes a little bit more drastic. So if you can get him at like $2 or $3 million, I think it's fine. But I think right now the Vikings will end up going in like round 2, taking a wide receiver. And I've got my eyes on Jeremy Bernard from Alabama, because he's got like that skill set that guys like Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison have, the well-rounded, his movement skills don't drop when he makes in-breaking routes. And he's got all of the little things that O'Connell seems to target with a wide receiver. And he could come in seamlessly and fulfill Jalen Naylor's production, like 30 catches, 500 yards. Like, that's really all you need to ask.
Why be a first rounder? He sounds like the perfect prospect.
He's not. I gave him a high 3rd round grade, but we're talking stylistically, not future comps. Stylistically, he's in that same bucket.
Gold jacket, green jacket. Arif, to Forno's point here, they obviously drafted Ty Felton to be the next guy in line. You do not use your second pick in the draft on a guy you don't think can be a big contributor, or somebody you don't see in your long-term plans. Problem is, he obviously didn't see the field at all last year, and I feel like that's kind of all I need to know as far as feeling good about rolling with him on your wide receiver 3, for opening day week 1. Also, too, another thing to think about, Jordan Addison, whether it's been suspension, off the field stuff, or on the field stuff, he just hasn't shown he's been able to, play a full slate, which is, again, not the easiest thing in the world with this extra game. 17 games, it's a gauntlet. A lot of these guys, bumps, bruises, gets tweaked, miss a week here or there. But I remember 2 years ago on opening day in New York versus the Giants, Addison, tweaked his ankle? And then it was the Naylor show. Luckily, they had a Jalen Naylor to step in for those 2-3 weeks. Jalen Naylor caught a huge clutch pass in the fourth quarter versus the San Francisco 49ers. I want to say that was the very next week, maybe 2 weeks later. So they just don't have that luxury right now on this depth chart. So what's just kind of your gut feeling about the blueprint and I guess what you think they should do versus what you would do?
Well, so I don't think it would be like unwise to kind of adopt all 3 approaches, right? Bring in somebody like a DeAndre Hopkins who, has the resume, has the ability, to have some of the skill set, but like could lose a competition and you wouldn't be like that upset about it. Mm-hmm. Also grab a guy in the draft, but I do think that they'll give Ty Felton a serious look. And you said it, Luke, one of the commenters said it, that Felton didn't have any playing time last season, certainly didn't generate any stats, right? And that's relevant, that's important. But it's important to point out that that's also what happened with KJ Osborne, right? KJ Osborne had no snaps on offense, certainly no receptions or targets his rookie year, and then he blew up his second year. This is not me saying, right, that every receiver that doesn't get snaps their first year is going to end up being a solid receiver their next year, but rather that it's always possible, right, that the Vikings are correct. Because I've heard the same thing as Tyler. They love Ty Felton. I don't see where it's coming from. I didn't like him as a prospect. Admittedly, I wasn't a huge KJ Osborne fan coming out. I thought he got worse at Miami instead of better coming from And so, I was wrong there. That's fine. I could be wrong about Ty Felton. But But I don't think you can bank on that, right? And I think wide receiver 3 is going to be a lot less important for them going forward than it has been in the past, because I think they'll rely on like TJ Hawkinson to do that a little bit more. Maybe continue developing tight ends or whatever. Maybe get their running backs more involved in the passing game. They don't have to have a third wide receiver unless, we have the availability problem with Jordan Addison that you outlined. But I do think that the best approach would be kind of a multimodal approach where they bring in that veteran that's got a resume, they continue to develop the guy that they got in last year, and they bring in another guy. Now, I don't know that they'll be able to spend a second-round pick on a receiver unless they're very aggressive about wanting to solve that problem, because they have a lot of problems to solve, mostly on defense, right? But they have to figure out what they're going to do at linebacker. They got to figure out what they're going to do at safety. They might want to invest in another cornerback. I don't know how they feel about that position. I certainly don't feel positive about that position. And then, of course, there are other positions where it would make sense to invest, right? Defensive tackle for this year. Next year, you're going to want to have a tight end, and that takes some time to develop, so you'd maybe draft one this year. So there's a lot of areas where that investment could happen, and you only have so many picks in the early rounds where there's somebody that you feel comfortable bringing in early. So personally, I would draft maybe 2 receivers in the 5th, 6th round. I would grab somebody like a DeAndre Hopkins who might be able to sign for $2 million, already has chemistry with Kyler Murray, and I would continue to seriously look at and consider Ty Felton and treat him as a better option that I personally think is available, right? Like, I just don't think he's got it. And I don't think the Vikings should operate as if I'm right. I think that they should continue to act as if there's a possibility that he could be the wide receiver 3.
Iron sharpening iron, training camp 2026. Ty Felton, DeAndre Hopkins putting in the work. I can see it. How about the money factor too? Before we move on here, I just want to bring this up because when we talk about drafting these premium positions, right, and once those 4 or 5 years are up, the price it costs to keep these guys. Look at what Jackson Smith and Jigba just got. Cornerback. Look at what Trent McDuffie just got paid. Are you kidding me? Then you go look at what Kenny Walker just got. Like, from a team building standpoint, I guess why wouldn't I keep trying to draft the Jalen Nailors and having a cost efficient player at an expensive position versus, this is just an extreme example, but taking a Jeremiah Love when running backs are just in general always a much cheaper position. So how much that conversation kind of fits into the equation for each team, not just the Vikings, is something to think about as well as we get closer to the draft. Coming up, we're ripping out some of our favorite prospects for the Vikings with our prospect of the day. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode also brought to us by Indeed. If you've ever hired someone that looked good on paper but wasn't the right fit, you know how important it is to find the candidates who truly match what you're looking for. That's why you should trust Indeed-sponsored jobs. Hiring Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed-sponsored jobs puts your post at the top of the page and helps you reach the right candidates faster. Instead of struggling to get your job post seen, Indeed Jobs helps your listing stand out and reach quality candidates faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 90% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. Spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with less stress, less time, and more results using Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of the show, you're getting a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL. Go to Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL right now and support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. All right, let's get into our prospect of the day segment. Now, usually this is my time to shine. I rip some prospect out there, but I thought today would be a great opportunity for the both of you to finally give us a guy you've kind of had circled for a while now, or maybe you just have really enjoyed, watching the tape or studying, because I know the both of you have done a lot of digging on this class as you do every year. So, could be a guy in that 18 range, in the middle or back half of round 1, or it could be a deep sleeper you really like on day 3 as well. 4-0, let's start with you.
So we're going to go back to the cornerback. Well, last year, I was the highest in the industry per Arif Hassan's consensus board on Quincy Riley. I had him 28th overall, and I think on his consensus board, he was
20th
103rd.
overall. Hey,
28th.
dude.
28th.
Oh, still. Wow.
I loved him.
I think I sent Fordo a DM. I was like, hey, man, are you sure?
Yes.
How many times do you have to do that? Going through the 200?
I
big
do
boards?
that for basically
Like, wait a
everybody. I'm
minute.
like, hey, you're the highest on this guy, lowest on this guy. But with Fornos, I was like, is this a typo?
No.
It was so far off of everybody.
Hey,
and I do that
Inman,
like maybe 4 or 5 times after I go through like 100 boards where I'm just like, hey, man, you didn't rank. Like, I remember one year somebody didn't rank Ed Oliver, and I was like, that guy's a first round pick. You should rank him. And he was like, I'm good.
Hey, Inman, you got Keith McGill on here 3 times, dude. What are we doing? You want him at 88, 102, or 191? What are we doing, dude?
Yeah, I was insanely high on him. I noticed him a couple years back when I was scouting Jarvis Brownlee Jr., and I'm like, this dude is just really good. And then he didn't have the best senior year, but he put it together enough where I'm like, yeah, I'm all in this guy. I almost gave him a first, and I ended up being proven right because he made a bunch of all rookie teams in his first year with the New Orleans Saints. And the guy I like this year more than pretty much everybody else, because I think right now he's a consensus like 6th or 7th rounder, and I have a 3rd round grade on him, is Georgia Tech cornerback Amari Harvey. I am just obsessed with his game because he plays in a very similar way. And I just think I have a type of corner, slightly undersized. He's 6 foot, 195 pounds.
You like feisty guys.
I love feisty guys.
Yeah, gotta have some Marcus Peters to your cornerback.
Not only is he going to punch you in the mouth, but there's a few reps, I think it was against Virginia Tech, where he literally would grab the wide receiver and throw him to the ground. And he's great at the catch point. He's got enough athleticism to thrive. He's got great click and close ability. And he's just got everything I want and 100% dog. This is the type of corner I want to bring in my room.
If Fordo could construct an entire secondary out of Amik Robertsons, he would.
Well, I want them to be a little bit bigger than Amik Robertson, but they have that same mentality because Quincy Riley is 5'10", 5'8", 193 pounds. Like, I'm okay with slightly undersized guys if you have the mentality to play corner, because to me, mentality means more than just a little bit of size. Unless you're Emmanuel Forbes, then, well, you're just going to become a first-round pick because of a bunch of tip ball interceptions, but that's a whole nother story, Commander.
Is he a pure boundary guy? I'm trying to look him up right now on the fly here. 6 foot, 195, redshirt senior. By the way, ranked 269 on PFF's mock draft. So definitely probably one of your favorite, like, with those 2, 3, 7th rounders for the Vikings. I can see you definitely sniping him.
Look, this is the guy I would start talking about at like 97. Be like, yeah. I think you should seriously consider taking this guy. I would have taken Quincy Riley in round 2 because, well, I was right. So I'm the victor.
So you're not saying this is your favorite cornerback in this in this class. You're saying you're higher on him compared to consensus than any other cornerback.
Well, actually, Luke, I don't think he's the best player in this class. He is my favorite player in this class. I love everything about this guy. Okay. But yeah. I would take him in round 3, but when you kind of look at the consensus board, which I think, everybody should do to try and get a broad scope of, hey, where is this guy going to go? Because you don't want to just take a guy because you think he's worth the pick. Yeah. You also want to take a guy because, hey, if I think he's a 3rd round grade, but I know I can get him at pick 196, I'm not going to take him that early. I'm going to wait until I can get a better value with him and then take another player in a similar range. So if you think he's going to go like round 6 or 7, take him around round 6 or 7. But I think he's a 3rd round player.
Yeah, love that. Really good PFF, solid PFF grades here for 3 years in a row. In fact, 2023 was his best year with 3 picks. 59.4 passer rating allowed in 2025. So balling out there, and great zone coverage grade as well for the back end of that Flores defense. More of a boundary outside dude. Do you play any slot, box, deep, any of that stuff? How do you kind of? I don't want to pigeonhole him, but yeah.
But yeah, this is a guy you would probably want to keep outside, who can kick inside if necessary. But you have Byron Murphy Jr., who is arguably better in the slot than he is on the outside. Right. But you have that versatility where he can kick in, so it gives you more options when you have another boundary guy, because then you can be more versatile and do a lot of different things and potentially send Murphy on some blitzes.
Is there one game in your head if you're like, hey, dude, my buddy's got 10 minutes to watch Harvey. This is the game you got to watch.
Watch the first 5 plays against Virginia Tech, and if you don't love him, you never will.
Perfect. That's what I needed.
The first
right
5.
ABC.
The first 5 plays.
Always be closing. I love that.
He throws a guy down and like throws an elbow. It's fantastic.
I was going to say his highest graded game per PFF, right? Highest graded game of 2025 was the Virginia Tech game. So I was hoping you were going to say that game. Georgia, the other second best graded game, by the way. Some big tier competition.
Not a bad like best graded game to have.
Yeah, showing up in the big moments. Love that. We'll pencil him in. Obviously, Vikings need plenty of secondary help, so love to have some. I'm not even calling him a sleeper at this point, the way you just pumped him up, but love to have another name on the list for this Flores defense and an option for Brzezinski in the war room. Arif Hassan, prospect of the day. Who you got?
Yeah, so obviously I've been grinding the tape.
For sure.
By that, I mean I've been going through the spreadsheets. So there's this guy from BYU. He just completed his pro day on March 20th. It actually hasn't hit some of the places that update their official pro day grades, but I got a connection. So his official 40-yard dash time was 4.29 seconds. Some scouts had him at 4.27. His name is Mori Bamba. Mori Bamba. I told Luke before the show I was going to make up a name, and I'm not. This is a real person. M-O-R-Y.
If you were making up one, that's what you would say.
Right, yeah. Ran 14.9. He's 6'2", 193 pounds. I think most places list him at 6'3". Officially at his pro day, he measured in at 6'2". 31-inch arm, 75-inch wingspan, so pretty good length, great height, phenomenal speed, 11-foot 1-inch broad jump, right? Outstanding athleticism. Now, is he good at cornerback? No. That's a big problem. But that's what coaching is for. That's what it's for, right? He's not terrible at quarterback, I will say that. But he doesn't have a ton of on-ball production. He doesn't have a single interception. He had 3 or 4 pass deflections, depending on who's doing the counting. This year, he only played 242 coverage snaps. This year, his 4th year at BYU. He was targeted on 1 out of every 6 coverage snaps, which is relatively high, and he allowed a 95 pass rating when he was targeted, mostly because, touchdowns are overcounted in these small sample sizes. It's kind of difficult, but he didn't play outstandingly well, but he plays a lot of special teams. He's really fast. He's really big. He can tackle, actually. First of all, so that's great for special teams. He's got a bunch of stops, actually, just because he's got some hitting power. And so you'll always have a use for him on the roster. Don't draft him day 2. Don't even draft him early day 3, right? He doesn't have enough production for that. But he's got a ton of athleticism. He's got special teams production. And if you trust your coaching to be able to generate something out of a guy that's 6'2" and runs a 4.29, hey, we want to talk about previous hits and misses. I was higher on Tariq Woolen than the consensus board was, and certainly higher than the NFL draft was. Drafted him, I think, in the 4th round, right? 5th. What in the world are we doing? 6'4" quarter running a 4.33.
I know. Just take a stab, dude. What are we doing?
And he had length too. It wasn't like he was a T-Rex.
And he had length and production. He had production. That's So I'm gonna stake a claim here on this guy. He's probably not going to get drafted. If he does, he'll get drafted 6th, 7th round. Don't worry. You can draft him at the bottom of the 5th. It's fine. It's okay. You can do it. I promise no one's going to judge you. Do it. Do it.
I am so impressed because I can't even find this guy on the PFF mock draft simulator.
He's probably not there.
They roll 280 deep, 270, 280 deep.
I'll tell Trevor. I'll be like, hey, you got to add my
Amari
guy.
Harvey wasn't on there until 3 weeks ago. So
who wasn't?
Amari Harvey wasn't on
your
until
guy
3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Interesting. Love that. A lot of good options here. Let's keep moving on. Plenty more deep dive. Mock draft Monday. We're talking our dream and the nightmare scenarios for the Vikings on draft night. And that's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode also brought to us by 5 Hour Energy. It's draft season.
Let's go.
Let's go. And we got 18, count them, 18 fantastic 5 Hour Energy shots to choose from. New flavors include Confetti Craze, cotton candy and fruity rainbow. Question is, who goes first in the 5-hour energy draft? Well, odds makers have blue raspberry as the heavy favorite with its bold blue raspberry candy flavor. Reminds me of those blue slushies when I was a kid. Takes me back to when the Vikings stole Randy Moss in the 98 draft. That's the kind of draft pick value you're getting with this 5-hour energy and the 18 flavors, and even more on the way. 5-hour energy shots gives you a boost with 0 sugar. Find your new favorite flavor of 5-hour energy shots, available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. All right, let's have a little fun with a little mock draft Monday. Before we dive into this PFF mock draft simulator, again, both you guys very dialed in here to this draft class. I think we all know what we perceive to be kind of the strengths and the weaknesses of this class. In general, feels like a little bit of a down year for sure. Not a good quarterback class. Not a great offensive tackle class, I would say, by and large. Not a great running back class, at least compared to last year, which was totally stacked. Wide receivers, maybe no Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison's coming out, but pretty decent as far as, volume goes, potential contributors, it feels like, in those first 3-4 rounds. Anyways, we're a month away, knowing everything about not just this class, but also really thinking about, the Vikings' biggest needs right now. And I guess that may be different for the both of you. I don't know. But tell me, as we sit here a month away, Arif, what your ideal or, best case dream scenario is, and what scenario you've seen out there, in mock draft land, all the NFL draft pundits out there, that you just aren't vibing with, that you just can't get on board with for the Vikings, whether that's a trade up, sitting at 18, or trade back, whoever it may be.
I think the dream scenario is to trade up for Dylan Thieneman just to take Tyler Fournette.
I knew you're gonna troll that just a little bit.
No, a lot of times when I'm seeing these simulators, these mock drafts, materialize, I see the Vikings at 18 picking at kind of like an awkward spot. There is maybe a defensive tackle you could pick there, and that fits their needs and stuff like that. But for the most part, it doesn't look like there's a guy at 18 that makes a lot of sense for that pick slot or that pick value. So I don't actually like a lot of their options. Maybe Jermod McCoy, if you think cornerback is a really big need. So the dream scenario for me is that you trade down. One of these tackles is gonna fall, it seems like, right? Based off of like all of these mocks. So some tackle that somebody has ranked in their top 5, because there's like a ton of offensive linemen that I'm hearing different teams have ranked top 3, top 5, or as their top offensive linemen. So like, it could be Fano, could be Maui Noah, depending on whether or not you think of him as a guard or whatever, right? There are a lot of guys that are up there, right? The Freeling, right? Like a lot of guys that are up there for some team. And so one of those guys is going to fall to 18, and some team is going to think that they're going to get an outstanding value trading up to where the Vikings are, who don't need a tackle for the first time in, oh my God, right? I mean, they didn't need one last year, but you know what I mean? It feels like weird, right? That the Vikings get to pass up on an offensive lineman. So I think you should trade down, and trading down to, kind of the mid-20s, grabbing a safety at better value, depending on who you think that safety is. Maybe it's not Dylan Thieneman, right? But like finding a safety that you like at better value, maybe finding a cornerback at better value. Because again, I don't super love, what's going on at cornerback at that spot, but I do think around the mid-20s, I feel a little bit more comfortable taking one of those guys. Defensive tackle for sure, especially if it's like Caleb Banks, right? That I think I would feel a lot more comfortable with than I would picking at 18. And I know we do this every single year. We're like, wow, it's a really great draft to trade down in. And like, just trust me when I say this one more than most, right? I think that there's a lot of drafts where it made sense for the Vikings to stay put or trade up or whatever. And here, I think genuinely, that this is a really good spot, given the contours of the board and what the Vikings need, to trade down even just to the mid-20s, grab another pick in the 3rd round, and really kind of fill out that roster, because the roster, the draft is deep at a lot of positions. The Vikings do have some current or future needs at. It's really deep at tight end, right? So you can invest like a mid or late round draft pick. So you might as well grab another mid or late round draft pick. It seems to be pretty deep at linebacker. Grab a mid round draft pick at linebacker too. But you need to acquire those picks in order to really take advantage of how deep this class is at positions like safety, linebacker, tight end, or even running back, which is not the most amazing class, but there is some depth to it that I think that there's a lot you can get out of it.
I'm totally with you. Even like 23, give me that extra third and sixth. You know what I mean? I mean, they just again, common denominator here. We keep circling back. They just have so many needs. They need as many as these dart throws or lottery picks, however you want to call them, as possible. Forno, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a specific guy you can't stand at 18. I don't know. Maybe it's a certain scenario that plays out you don't love, but what's your dream and kind of nightmare scenarios for the Vikings on draft night?
So I actually have an article coming out later today talking about like using the Rich Hill trade chart and breaking down what a theoretical trade could look like down from picks 19 to 32. So there's some interesting potential trade down opportunities there, especially like the Chargers. Like you give up pick 86 and then that's a relatively balanced trade for both sides. And then all of a sudden the Vikings have an extra day 2 pick, which this class doesn't have the high end talent, but like the Dolphins are in such a great spot because they have 5 picks on day 2. They could theoretically get 5 starters on day 2.
The Dolphins have a crazy amount of draft capital.
It's wild. So funny. But you can get a lot of starting caliber players in the first 100 picks. You're not going to get elite stars, but you're going to get starters. And I think where the Vikings are at from their depth and the fact that I think they only have 65 players on a 90-man roster, acquiring a couple more picks to help fill out some of those depth spots, and then you can start developing those guys. Because as much as the Kwesi Mensa drafts were bad, I also think they didn't do a great job developing some of these guys at the same time. I think there's blame on both sides from that perspective, but getting more players would be a great thing, especially on day 2. My dream scenario would be that Caleb Banks does not have any issues with his feet and you just take him at 18. But I haven't been able to confirm, 1, that his foot issues aren't linked, and 2, I haven't been able to figure out if they're the same foot, because all the reporting from his 2 foot injuries at Florida,
good point.
I never saw, and I cover the Gators trade as esports too. I never saw which foot it was. Nobody ever said, it just said foot injury. And the fact that there's now 3 of them in the course of 6-7 months.
You didn't bug an on-site Gators reporter and was like, hey man, just check out which boot he's walking with.
No. I haven't been able to find any reporting, and I've asked around. I haven't been able to figure that out either. So, but honestly, I think my best case scenario is what Arif is. Just trade down. And then I would love to pick up Avion Terrell from Clemson. Because
you get down to 23, and I'm on board with McGill or Warren, Toledo safety, or obviously again Terrell. Just depends on who's there, obviously how the board shakes out, but feels like a sweet spot for some teams. Arif, I love that you pointed out, like, could be a sweet spot for teams to trade up for an offensive lineman, whoever that may be. Ty Simpson sitting there as quarterback 2 as well. You never know. Somebody might want to jump up from, early round 2 if Ty Simpson's still sitting there as well, which
I invite them to. I would love for a team to trade up for Ty Simpson. That would be so funny.
Yeah, who would take Christian Ponder at 12? Oh my God, that never happens.
What a crazy team to do that.
All right, so knowing all that, let's jump into the mock draft sim here. Rip one out. Let's get in the war room. See how much time we got here.
Lock in.
Let's do this. Let's get in the war room and have each of you two play GM for the first 3 rounds. We'll do a 3-round mock for both of you guys. So, like every GM, you can kind of lean on your scouts, or you can just pull the trigger. Whatever.
All right.
I'm just gonna ignore our analytics department. We don't need a reef here.
All right.
Okay, let's go mock draft sim. Okay, we'll go 3 rounds, 18. Who wants to go first? Coin flip. Heads or tails? Call it.
Tails. Let Arif go first.
Heads.
Okay, I'll go first. Whatever.
Okay, 18 on the board. Arif.
Check the trades. Juicy. Check the trades. What do we got?
Well, first of all, 2 juicy options. Makai Lemon.
I know. Check the trades.
27 would be the lowest, I guess, to trade back.
That's
so you traded back 9 spots.
So if we give up 18 and they give up 27 and 58 and 127, what happens when we click 1?
You want to do it?
So, Arif.
The problem is, though, you're not going to be able to capitalize on this 127. In this
27, 139, and a second in 27 is equal point value on the Rich Hill chart.
I don't. So the earliest trade I can get is 27. Let's take a look at these players again, real quick.
Yep. So let's go. Makai Lemon, Jermod
That's
McCoy from
interesting. That's
Tennessee,
interesting.
Jordan Tyson, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Let's see where Thieneman went. 14. Wow.
Okay, so I'm going to gamble a little bit here. I'm going to take that 49ers trade. So let's go back to the 49ers trade. Do 27, 58, and 127. I know I'm not going to be able to take advantage of it, but let's do it. Great.
Okay. Now, Caden McDonald,
so
Caleb
I don't
Banks, Peter Woods.
love what I just did there.
Yeah, and I got sniped. Well, Terrell went.
I figured
McCoy
either
went.
Terrell or McNeil Warren might make it to 27, but you know, whatever. We all make our choices. What trade offer do I have?
35.
Oh, hey, look at that. I like
35.
this. It's good. 35, 66.
Can
and,
you get 66? Do you want me to try to pull it?
throw back 127 from the 49ers. Yeah.
Boom.
That was great.
Okay.
I'm glad we got 127.
Ooh,
Okay.
Banks and
Caleb
Peter
Banks, let's go.
Woods. Caleb Banks.
That's
Okay.
the spot to take him with the foot
This
question.
is juicy, man. You got some nice ammo here. So Caleb Banks, defensive tackle, Florida with the foot injury, but you got him.
I got him.
Way
All right,
way
so
down there.
We could get Forno's guy right here with Bernard, right? Let's scroll down a little bit.
I like.
What do we think about Halsey?
I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. More of a hitter, strong safety type, little Bob Sanders-ish, but better in coverage than I think people have given him credit for.
Isn't Halsey more of a center fielder?
I am a. He did play a lot of deep, but he's a big thumper, dude. He's a big thumper. Let's check out his deep first box. 484, deep center fielder, but missed tackles 16.
Pass rush
19.
snaps. He doesn't have a ton of pass rush snaps. I'm a little bit concerned.
Yeah, forced incompletions
What's
five
his
last
size
year.
look like? What do we got size-wise for him?
6'2", 22 years old. He's a big dude.
222-pound center fielder?
He ran.
Let's
at
go!
like 4.54. Want to say?
Bring him in.
Yeah, that
Bring
sounds
him
right.
in.
That sounds
Draft
right.
him.
Halsey, done. All right, another pick
Right,
here.
Stowers
Stooks
is still on the board. That's crazy.
Stooks on the board here.
Stooks
Yeah,
and
I love
Stowers.
Stooks.
You do love Stooks.
Stowers. Let's see who else you got here. Grayson
All 4 on team
Bolton,
trading
Mike
Stooks.
Washington Jr., Orange, Big Citrus.
I mean, I just got a DT, so we can't do that. Let's take a quick look at that trade.
You're addicted, dude.
Come on, man. Look, okay, I can't go down to 81. No.
81 and 88?
No. I just wanted to look. I just wanted to pick up the phone, see what they were offering.
Okay. Stooks.
I think we should consider Bryce Lance.
Well, you'll get your turn here.
No.
You'll get your turn.
Let's go Stooks.
Stooks it is. Okay. 3 more picks here. Look at you. Mike Washington, Big Citrus, Elijah Surratt. Is it time to go receiver here?
I'm thinking about it.
Deion Burks, Kyle Lewis, Chandler Rivers, cornerback Duke.
Okay, we can get Kyle Lewis a little bit later. I do like him. We can get him a little bit later. Let's see, we could get another cornerback. That would be fun.
Yeah, I do like Rivers from Duke.
Okay. What do we think about Igbonason?
A lot of man coverage experience, a little inconsistent, but he's got the size, length, and speed to pretty much
195. Yeah, 81.7 PFF grade this last year.
What's his ball production? What do we have in terms of like pass deflections and stuff? Do we have that? Does PFF not give us that? Come on.
not on here.
No touchdowns allowed, 2 picks, 4 picks the last 2 years, 42.6 passer rating allowed, boundary corner mostly.
Okay. So someone look up his pass deflections. I'm going to take a look at some other positions here.
The last 2 years, he's got 4 picks, 13 pass breakups. But in 2024, he got flagged 16 times.
You could fix that. Let's see. And Antonio Williams, what do we think about Antonio Williams?
Antonio Williams,
good player.
5'11", 190.
Like if you're drafting wide receiver here, I think I'd rather take the shot on like a Ted Hurst than Williams. But
then I'm gonna wait.
Yeah, Antonio not doing much for me on that profile.
And then let's see what other positions we got. Not feeling running back quite yet. Oh, what do we got center wise? Is that still an area we can go somewhere?
A couple juicy linebackers still there. I know you want to wait on that. Yeah, center, you've got Rutledge from Georgia Tech. Connor Lew.
What do we think
Jake
about Connor
Slaughter.
Lew or Sam Hecht? Is this too rich for them?
It
66. You're at 66.
it
here,
might
huh?
be, but this is also a position where you could see a huge run, and all it takes is one for them to really start coming off board fast.
Yeah,
Can
you're
we
picking
click on,
16
can
more
we
picks.
click on your picks? What picks do I have?
Yeah, we got
66, 82,
Banks,
97.
Halsey, Stukes.
Okay, I'm gonna trust the board for both center and linebacker, and I'm gonna take the Ohio State cornerback here.
Mm-hmm. I like it. All right, Kyle Lewis still sitting there. 2 more picks, by the way. Anthony Hill, Jake Slaughter.
And we got AJ on here.
Yeah.
I'll take
Sam Roush.
Yeah, okay. I like this. Okay, I'm good. So scroll back up.
Jonah
I'm taking
Coleman.
Kyle Lewis.
Kyle Lewis. I like it.
And then we got Logan Jones at center. What else we got? Is that it?
So
for center?
maybe it's like center, running back, or receiver with this last pick.
Yeah, we could get Ted Hurst.
I mean, running back, is Coleman still there? Nope, gone.
Nope.
Johnson.
They still got Claiborne out there. I think we can get running back in the 4th round, which
Sure.
obviously we're not going to actually do. But
Ted Hurst, 4-nose guy, still sitting there.
Corners guy, yeah. And then at center,
Or-
we've got
You've got Logan. Big drop off. You were right, 4-0. Big drop off there.
yeah.
Big
What
run.
do we think about Logan Jones?
I'm good on Logan.
He's like if Garrett Bradbury was worse at the things he was bad at.
So again, I'm good on Logan.
Can we teach Jaeger Burton how to play center? Do we think? No, he
He
knows
is
how
a
to play
center.
Yeah, he's a center. All right.
I think he's more of a gap guy, but I mean the Vikings have been running more gaps seemingly every year.
You need a center here. Vikings got to walk away with the center. don't
You
they?
got to walk away with the center.
Come on.
Yeah, screw it. Let's go with Logan Jones.
All right. Taking a screenshot of that. Maybe we can tweet these side by side
Oh,
here.
yeah,
But
get,
pretty solid, man. Caleb Banks, AJ
I'm
Halsey,
pretty happy with this.
Trade on Stukes, corner, back to back there with the Ohio
Yeah,
State.
you
Kyle
all just have to
Lewis,
trust the
Logan
process.
Jones, man. That is very solid. All right, real quick here. Let's rip out 4-0s here and we can compare and contrast. Way different starting board here.
Yeah.
No Lemon, no McCoy, just got sniped by the Lions.
What are my trades?
Yeah, 2 trades down to 26 with Buffalo. 91 can for sure get that.
Yeah, and throw in 126.
Definitely get that. Oh my god, what is going on?
Oh,
here?
Buffalo wants this. What in the
Whoa,
world?
who
is
are they
going
going
on
to
here?
take? You want me to punch it?
Punch it.
Who are they? Oh, okay.
Yeah, just take out a couple of those late day threes. Yeah,
All
because
right, I got. Hold on, I got to see who they wanted. Oh, the Penn State guard. Okay.
Sure.
Very funny to have him paired with Osiris Torrance, just 2 330-pound
monsters.
All
All right, so you got Cooper, Blake Miller, Cade McDonald. Anybody jumping out here? Caleb.
So
Banks, Peter Wilson?
I'm going to take an approach of what are they going to do to maximize Kyler Murray. I really think Denzel Boston might be a guy to try to maximize Kyler Murray.
That'd
Gives
be
you
fun.
some size and allows you to be a little bit more versatile with Justin Jefferson and not like you have then a traditional X receiver and he can do the in and out breaking stuff. Not going to be a super dynamic route runner right away, but he showed some ability to do so. And he'll be your option like 4, which is an interesting one. That's something I'm considering. I'm also considering Peter Woods. I know he's had a bad process, but there's some real talent with Woods. Terrell is there, obviously.
Does this feel like kind of a not great scenario after a trade down to the mid-20s? Just knowing that both safeties are sniped, your guy Terrell's sniped. Not saying that you not saying that you can't still get a good player.
Let's look at the trades one more time and see if I can trade down again with the Giants.
37.
Now, what are the other trade options?
39 and 70.
Yeah. I don't love anybody that much. Give me 39 and 70. Let's go down one more time.
Fordo.
So both of you guys traded down twice.
Yo, Fordo traded deep into the second. What's going on here?
Deep into the second. Pons.
I don't love how this ended up turning out. I'm gonna be honest with you. But,
hey, Rob, just hit the restart button.
I think I don't love the idea of taking a nose tackle in round 1, but I'm pretty comfortable taking a guy like Lee Hunter in round 2. So let's smash that, and I think he can help elevate the run defense a little bit. Which I'm gonna be honest, I don't think needs that much elevation.
Pons is still there.
Dude, we got Pons.
Smash Pons. Smash him. Not even a question. Back on the board at
Big
70.
citrus.
Zachariah Branch, the de facto I'm a zoomy gadget guy.
Yeah.
I have
Gotta
no
go fast.
Yeah, he's going to go in like round 2, and I'm going to laugh so hard when somebody does that. Overall, so we got a corner, we got a defensive tackle.
You got
You
4
get
more
Max
picks
Clare.
here to
Throw
rattle off here.
up safety. Throw up safety for me. I can get Genesis Smith later, which will rock.
People like Bud Clark for sure later on.
Give me wide receivers. I think this might be a fun spot for wide receiver. No, yeah, I think I just screwed the pooch on this one by trading down too far. I don't like.
Let's go.
Just go
that at
BPA,
all.
man. Just go BPA. Who do you like? Vikings have
you know
enough
what?
holes. Just start taking good players. You got 4 picks here.
Let's go
Rattle-
Mike
rattle 'em up.
Washington Jr.
Like it.
I don't love how shifty he is, but man, that guy can run in a straight line.
Jake
So-
Slaughter, Connor Liu, Anthony Hill, Kyle Lewis.
I've got 91 and 97. I think I might be able to get a center there. And even so, I'm not so dead fast on taking a center. Give me Kyle Lewis.
Like it.
The Josh Metellus regen. I love that.
Mhm. 2 picks left here.
Smash Jake Slaughter. I think he's better than Logan
Let's
Jones.
go.
Shout out AJ Schulte. All right. Last pick. I'm glad he's still here on the board. Genesis Smith, safety Arizona. I love his game. More of a compliment to what your Josh Metellus is. More of a deep kind of safety. Hey, I'll take an A-. I don't love trading down that far.
Boy, A- for all that. Not bad, man. Yeah, Lee Hunter, D'Angelo Pons, Mike Washington Jr., the running back out of Arkansas, killed the combine. Kyle Lewis, again, Josh Metellus kind of mold there. Jake Slaughter and Genesis Smith. So kind of hit as much as you could. Both you guys did, and trading down twice, obviously.
My draft
went
is
a
kind
long
of the
ways.
epitome of what this class is. It's a bunch of guys who can be solid starters. You're
Mhm.
not going to get a lot of sexy picks, but solid starters. And yeah, I think 39 was trading down too far, but it's nice to be able to see.
Well, what
different-
got you was going down to 26, and it wasn't so much the blueprint there. I think it made total sense, but you just got sniped on. Again, I think we are all in agreement that let's trade down a couple spots and hopefully a safety or a corner is still there. Obviously, we still have other positions we can tend to. Whether it's I like that you're talking about even just bringing up the fact that Denzel Boston could maybe an option. But yeah, I think you just got sniped there a little bit.
And you know what?
And it made things tough. It just
That's
made things
exactly
tougher.
why we do these simulations. And that's why like teams will do simulations because like,
Mhm.
oh, what happens if this happens? And even if it didn't end up like the
Yeah.
way I really wanted, and I feel like it screwed the pooch a little bit, like it's still good to see, hey, if you go down this far, this is what's probably going to happen. So it's nice to have simulations from that perspective. That's how I try and approach all these mock drafts.
Well said there. A lot of fun. Comment in the chat or comment down below if you're not here with us live. Let me know your preference. Mock 1 or 2, whether you think Arif Hassan or Tyler Fornes should be the next Vikings GM. A lot of fun, as always, guys. Huge shout out to all the everydayers out there that always make us your first listen. All you guys coming in the chat with us from show to show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And go check out Forno on X at The Real Forno. Go check out Arif over at the Wide Left Substack. We'll catch you back here Thursday with another app. But until then, thanks for joining. Catch you next time.